Hey everybody. This content ran a little long today, so I'm going to make this an audio only file. Enjoy the podcast. Welcome back, everyone. It's Positive Poetry with me, Andrew. I'm glad to be back. Thanks for checking in again today. This lovely Sunday it is for me and you, probably, the 20th of January 2019. Today's it went a little different. I'm kind of gaining my bearings as to how to approach this whole podcast thing and structuring it and all that. So today I actually wrote the poem first, and then the rest of the show was inspired from the poem, which seems to be pretty straightforward for a poetry podcast. But let's dive in. I'm finding out what works for me. No more waiting on eternity to bless me so spontaneously and leave me in a reverie. I'm done daydreaming through the week. The lion sweats, the jungle sleeps. I've gotten back up on my feet. Now I'm running and there's no stopping me. It's kind of how I feel lately. I've been taking the bull by the horns, hitting the gym all the time, every day, and then, taking a few days off to recuperate and rest. Gotta have those rest days, right? Trying to get something done every day in the realms of all of my goal areas, and it's really juicing me. So, I'm happy to say progress is being made. And that's cool to know. So, in this particular poem, I was really inspired by the second stanza, or even just the second sentence. No more waiting on eternity to bless me so spontaneously and leave me in a reverie. I've leaned on luck a lot in my life. It always feels so good when a plan comes together, doesn't it? Things for a while seem to flow my way. Have you ever had that experience? Things just kind of seem to flow your direction, and it's almost like the universe just giving you opportunity that you could just capitalize on with your skill set. It's great. Almost flawlessly, like it's effortless. It's a wonderful experience, right? And this seemed to happen to me a lot early on. Needless to say, my luck ran out, right? That's what happens when you lean on that and you aren't developing skill. So that my luck ran out. My lack of skills became liability. I chased love everywhere. Everywhere it was marketed to me. So I had consumed a lot of different things that were marketed. I don't want to call out these. They just didn't work for me at the time, right? But the things, a lot of different alcohol brands was what I was going to really check off right there. But nicotine brands as well, what have you. My luck ran out. I'm a really impressionable guy, So those brands, it's like monkey see, monkey do. And in an age where kids grew up watching Jackass, shit hit the fan for me. Real early on. Like I say, my luck ran out. But I can develop skills. I know that. Every day. And I can will myself into a place of opportunity. So that in itself almost feels and seems magical. That is in my control. Something I can do. That's pretty sweet. All of our control. In your control. You can do the same. Starts with a belief in myself, though, doesn't it? Starts with a belief in yourself. So what are those things that you're talking about to yourself when no one else is around? Everyone talks to themselves. At least I'm pretty sure. I sure do. I believe everyone talks to themselves. I would need to be proven wrong at that one. I clinging to this belief and require evidence at this point. I'm just convinced. I'm convinced. I think that we all have got times where we talk to ourselves, and I call these things mantras because I think that they're repeated. I think that they're unconscious, repeated phrases, almost like a dog barks in their sleep. I think that we say things to dismiss thoughts or actions that make us uncomfortable. Almost like a tick, right? This happened a lot for me. Maybe it's not universal, maybe it is. Maybe I'm speaking directly to you. If so, here's how I'm suggesting. I got a few suggestions. I'm never really going to give advice. I don't have any real authority to do that. Even if I did, I don't think that that is my style so much as to give a suggestion. It is always up to the person to take into account all of the things around them and then take action, right? And test and adjusting the sails. I'm digressing and I apologize, but I think that's a very key point, is advice versus suggestions. So I've got some suggestions, but I wanted to get into this realm of mantra. First of all, have you heard the song by Bring Me the Horizon? It's a song called Mantra. It is awesome. Ever since I heard it on the radio, I knew for sure that I wanted to, change some of my habits of my mantras. It put me face to face with myself, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I should take some action on some of these things that I've been saying. When no one's around, when I'm just talking. I knew I wanted to do a podcast right away when I heard that song too. So I'm gonna just leave a link for the official video, all right, from the YouTube, so you can click on the YouTube. There you go. Okay. I had some bad mantras. I know that I don't even want to call them bad, right? Because there's such that subjective hocus pocus, right? I'm going to call them useless to my progression. So they were useless mantras. I still catch myself, and so we'll get into the suggestion piece. I think it's number 2 that I've been really working with. But got to prune the useless, I think. Prune the useless, chew the fat, throw out the enablers, the junk food, the losers, the self-sabotage, most importantly, the excuses. I hate excuses. I do. I hate excuses. I've got a potent and intense personality, I've been told. I've also been told that I'm very, very sensitive and I was going to say supple. Can you have a supple personality? At any rate, I can be intense. I will say that. I can be potent. And it is my intolerance for negativity and perhaps a touch of impatience. I am yet young and I'm learning to be patient, right? Cut me some slack. I'll just keep working on being patient. But at a certain point, though, you can't take in negativity, and you have to let the source know that if you can, right, you're supposed to take action. That's what I've always been taught. That's what at least the research that I have been shown, take action if you can to better the situation, especially if it betters the situation for more than just yourself. Then you owe it to whatever the hell community, right, to take those actions I sacrifice comfort a lot of the time for what I believe to be, betterment of the community. So essentially what I mean is I don't have that many friends anymore because I open my big flippin' mouth all the time. Son of a bitch. And here I go doing it again. No, it's not that bad. Okay, so I did have some mantras, though, that weren't effective for my own progression as a human being. And this needed to stop. They were useless. They needed to be pruned out of my life. Couldn't have it be part of my life anymore. So, they were stories, as Tony Robbins would have said. I had to ditch the story, as he would say exactly. And so this comes to my suggestion. So the suggestion number 1 was I just used opposites. So if I say something like it doesn't matter, I would replace it with it matters. and it makes me second guess, or not second guess, but I mean double think. And what a wonderful word in this time of big brotherness, right? You double think yourself. In all reality, though, it helps to rethink so you can respond as opposed to react. I just said a bunch of words, right? All I mean is to think before you say stuff. We know that too, but so there's ways to react, and that's usually your snapping response. And then there's a response, which is more thought through, and it's not so physiological. It's much more using your prefrontal cortex, right, and not our reptilian brain. We're not snapping and barking at people. We are thoughtfully in control of our own emotions, right? We're pruning the useless. So I used the idea of taking the opposite. This doesn't matter to this matters. Make me believe it. Okay? Or I thought of I hate blank. Well, I love blank. Gets you to rethink it. And it's simple. The point here to do it aloud, though. We're going to do this aloud. Tony Robbins, huge influence of mine, calls it neuroassociative conditioning. And the whole concept is that essentially you're just going to create brain patterns using spoken word. And then repetition creates those patterns more permanently, ingrains them more, ingrains them more. My second suggestion was to interrupt the pattern more easily, to identify them first of all. If you want to change, you're going to. So to identify these things, when you have identified them, pick out key trigger words in there so that when they do come up unconsciously, which is what they do, they come up unconsciously, you're doing the laundry and everything falls before you onto your shoulders all of a sudden for whatever reason, and while you're doing the goddamn laundry, and you feel the weight of the entire world, and you're like, oh my goodness, I am destroying the world with my laundry. Or whatever the thought may be, or something like that, and don't adopt that, and you know what I mean, just so perhaps you get struck with anxiety at some point during the day, and you unconsciously utter these useless babblings. You can identify them, and over the course of time, assign a trigger word within that phrase or whatever it is of that useless babbling, and use that trigger word to bounce out of your pattern and consciously replace that mantra. Another suggestion is to add, if you have no problem with negative mantras, you can always add positive ones. Adding positive mantras. So it would be adding positive affirmations. So you'd be affirmating yourself. And the ones with I am are the most effective, I hear. So you can, I came up with 4 that I try to do in the daytime. It's hard to do mantras and affirmations at night when I'm asleep. But, 4 of them would be: I am capable. I am determined. I am grateful. I am successful. In whatever order. I am powerful. Stuff like that. You just add to your day, and when you say it out loud, you begin to believe it, you begin to take actions into different realms of, maybe you're developing courage, maybe you're developing temperance, maybe you're developing patience, maybe you're developing gratitude, maybe you're developing affection, maybe you're developing compassion. We should be growing. If you're not growing, you're dying. We don't want to be dying. Who consciously wants to be dying? I know that I don't. I know that about myself, and that's super cool. That's one thing that I know. So I think I'm onto something here with this whole progress thing in terms of wisdom. Perhaps I am the only thing that I can ever truly come to know. That's kind of profound. And so there's a real intimate nature there. And that's something that I think I passed up and I want to take advantage of and get back to. I want to give that back to myself. That's an experience that I want, and damn it, I'm going to capitalize and take advantage while I'm still breathing. Right, guys? Now I have a bonus. That takes care of the show for today. Right? It was pretty deep content. I do want you to check out that song, so click the link. Right? It's a sweet song. Cool content here. We did cover a shitload, I suppose. So, just gonna conclude, right? So, I mean, skills are huge. Skills are important. They're the way, I would say, not out, but if you're in a bad place, they are the way out. If they're, but if you're banking on luck to make things happen, it's a great exhilaration, but skills are, they just are better than luck. Skills greater than luck. Planning is a skill. So planning ahead, seeing what's going to take place, or talking to the people that would know where to start finding the answers to those questions, right? All of that is a skill. So keep that in mind, right? That was part of this conclusion here. Keeping our goals written down. And now this isn't a to-do list. I think I'm going to do another whole podcast on goals. Just to clarify what I mean, it's not a to-do list in terms of goals. I think of it more as... I'll come up with a good analogy here. But goals should be written down and observed. You should look at them at least once a week, but definitely once a day. Okay. Let's check this out now. I mean, that mantra song, you got to check that shit out. It's a great song now. I mean, and I'm using these different suggestions for the mantra itself. Things like, just say the opposite. Oh, I hate this. I hate video editing. I hate editing videos. I love editing videos. Right? It adds a different energy to the situation, and maybe you can ride it out with that energy. And maybe, like, a great example is smiling when you're not fucking happy, right? Smile, and for whatever reason, your brain believes it. If you give it no other reason not to, it releases the chemicals. I'm pretty sure it's serotonin and dopamine in your brain when you just smile. And it takes less muscles to smile and to frown. We all heard that one. But you can actually trick your brain into drugging you happy. Just smile. And let's see here. You can also interrupt the pattern more easily by assigning trigger words within the mantras that you know that you have and that you would like to change. Okay, what's a good example? Like, let's say that I have a mantra of like, I want to punch Billy in the face. It's just very violent. It's very direct, right? It's useless. It's going to get you nowhere saying it to yourself. Someone catches you saying it, they're going to call it a threat or something, right? Very useless thing to say. I want to punch Billy in the face. My goodness. So, you could take the word punch and be like, wow, that's a trigger word. When I hear myself say punch, I'm going to just on purpose interrupt myself and my thought process, okay? And then I'm going to perform those daily affirmations. Like, I'm capable, I'm successful, I'm determined, I'm grateful, I'm powerful, etc. Okay? Those are pretty neat. Now, I did say we got a bonus, so I'm going to leave you guys off with a bonus poem. Thanks again for listening to the Positive Poetry Podcast today, and have a wonderful, happy Sunday evening. Or evening, or afternoon, or morning, whatever the hell time it is, enjoy it. And here you go, guys. And gals. And non-binary pals. There you go. Hey, everybody. It's getting closer. Getting near. The light that breaks the darkness. We're capable, so have no fear. We're light against the darkness.